Hello everyone, I'm Thom. It's been a year since this coronavirus disruption started, and I've been taking this time to eat beef jerky and talk to you on the internet. I'm not an expert or a food critic, I just like beef jerky. But this vlog has been good fun, and it's letting me explore some fun ideas with you, especially regarding game design. So I'm going to keep doing it for now. Today is April 8th. Early April. Important for a lot of reasons, but in terms of this vlog's importance, it's important because more people in America and around the world are vaccinated against COVID-19 than ever. It's terribly exciting. Not only have a significant portion of Americans been completely vaccinated, I read some statistics as much as 25%, but the number accelerates every day. There's more and more ways to get vaccinated. I hear more and more of my friends finding the opportunity to get vaccinated, finding appointments and things. Terribly exciting. Terribly exciting. Here's hoping that by midsummer, America will have soundly defeated this plague, and we can move on to vaccinating the entire world, which would be wonderful. And here's hoping, of course, that variants and odd occurrences and unknown side effects don't throw monkey wrenches in the works. Keep it positive, looking up. And that's kind of what this vlog is about, keeping it positive and keeping it connected. So I believe this is my 62nd episode of Jerky Vlogs. And as usual, we start out by talking a little bit about game design and maybe some current events. And the current event I would like to talk to you about today has to do with a game called Genshin Impact. I think I may have mentioned this video game in an earlier vlog that I did. But the reason I'm mentioning it now doesn't have much to do with how it plays or how it looks or what. It has to do with the announcement that the fans are up in arms, are rebelling, are vocally exclaiming their displeasure at the developers. And they have a raft of issues, security over the accounts, and some of the content they feel is very questionable. And there's other issues of technical and content and game mechanics, all these things leading to hashtag boycott Genshin Impact and hashtag this and hashtag that. And that in and of itself is not in any way unusual in video games. Whenever video game fans get together, they form a powerful entity that usually coalesces around an idea about their relationship to the game and their relationship to the developer, and then make their wishes and opinions known. This is not new. It's certainly not new for MMO developers who have been experiencing this kind of relationship with an organized player base for now decades. Decades, if you can imagine. And one of the most interesting things about it is that because it's been decades, the truth is that the people in the early 90s who were really, and even really before that with the muds and mushes, the text-only multiplayer games that existed mostly on timeshare servers, the people who really were at the forefront of multiplayer game development and game design and game management, they learned a lot, and they have a great deal to say about exactly this issue, about the very large penumbra, which is generally called, community management. The community management, which means lots of things. It means dealing with people who complain about a bug and fixing the bug or talking to people. It's dealing with them in other ways, like, oh no, well, they're mad at me. Maybe we'll give them an extra free month of service to tell them how sorry we are, or all the way to, our studies and our surveys show that players no longer want demons in the game. So in the next big update, we will not include any new demons. We will focus on dragons or tigers or something. To the things that most people never think about when they think about how community management is so all-encompassing and such a big deal, especially, but no longer exclusively, to multiplayer games. Even though Genshin Impact is multiplayer, in a very limited way compared to the MMOs of old, but still very much multiplayer. And that is that when people connect in your virtual world, in your virtual space, it becomes extremely real to them with all that entails. And that includes dealing with people, where they are. In other words, you are no longer, as a developer, you are no longer dealing with a player saying, oh, my sword of +1 doesn't hit as hard as I want to. And then you sadly wind up dealing with the customer base that wants you to give them a suicide hotline number, or wants to tell you, the game developer, about their spouse abuse. It's weird and it's out of left field, but every single multiplayer game developer has stories of this kind of stuff, of not only real life intruding into what is really a game space, but more evidence that when you build a virtual space and people come enjoy your virtual space, they bring every bit of themselves, bad and good, to that space. And you as a game developer, you as a game manager, are responsible for a great deal more than you thought you would. I invite anyone who wants to learn more about this to go to Raph Koster's website, RAPHKOSTER, who has been a game developer in the MMO space for a very, very long time, connected to a lot of the most important and influential and well-known titles around the world. And he has a great deal in his blog and in his video and his lectures that he's given at conferences and things like that. He has a great deal to say about exactly this, about the relationship, the mature and complex relationship between a multiplayer developer and the fan base that plays their game. So in terms of this kind of explosion of discontent right now with the Genshin Impact video game, I can say it's not the least bit surprising. And the only thing that should be surprising but is terribly, terribly not surprising is that these new companies putting out new multiplayer game products never seem to learn the lessons of the past. And it's most frustrating because, of course, this material is all out there. If they would only look, they would know what they're in for. They would know that it's no joke. So I wish, Miyoho, the Chinese developer of Genshin Impact, all the best in solving their issues and engaging properly and fruitfully and with their fan base. Because again, I know from personal experience and from so many that I've talked to that working with fans in your multiplayer game is a full-time job all by itself. They are a very large and very knowledgeable and very unified sometimes group of people who want a lot out of you as a game developer. I guess there's no meta message or no sneaky messages that I'm saying right now, other than it's interesting that this is happening to Miyoho right now. And also, if you want to make a video game and avoid a lot of extra stress and trouble, make single-player video games. So, yeah, that's what's going on in the video game world right now. But hey, this is not really a video game blog. What does it say right here? It says beef jerky. And interestingly enough, our good friend Adam Parra has actually sent me some more jerky to try. Now, last episode I actually tried some Stryve Biltong, which is basically beef jerky from Indonesia, Asia. So he thought enough of me to go ahead and send me a stick of beef biltong. So why don't we try it today? Thank you, Adam. Of course, I got to open it. You think sometimes they would provide ways to open this packaging easily, but it's not always the case, as we well know from watching me struggle with packaging for 61 episodes? All right, I think maybe I've got it open. Okay. Ooh, I smell it. Right. Yep. Smells like biltong. Beef jerky with some spices I wasn't expecting. But let's keep a positive attitude here. Are we ready? Here we go. As beef sticks go, it's more dry than I expected. Normally beef sticks can be surprisingly greasy. This is not. Now I'm getting the very strange spices I did not expect. Ooh, it's not exactly hot. It just tastes weird for me. Okay. Again, surprising. Interesting. All right, well, that's my best guess. Gotta say, it tastes like a beef jerky stick to which somebody has added some sort of detergent. Strange, but come on. I'm sure my taste buds are highly westernized, and that's a point against me. So, speaking of things to do in this video blog, let's open the mailbag, such as it is. It's been actually a little while several weeks since I made one of these videos. And if I look back, I can see that Adam, as always, is the one reliable poster on the YouTube channel. So let's look at what he said on my last video. He said, "Glad you had your first vaccine. My parents got their second on Saturday. I can't wait to get both of mine." Yes, and I'm hoping that by the time you see this video, you will also have gotten an appointment to get your own vaccine shot, because it's very important. It's gonna save our summer and save us all. It's really scary that this is all happening, and that we're doing, among other things, we're actually using vaccines that received emergency authorization for use because they haven't gotten the thousands and thousands of people testing under rigorous conditions that a normal drug tested with the American FDA would get. However, there's still, at this point, tremendous evidence that the value and efficacy of this vaccines far outweighs the danger of not having and not using the vaccine. So I'm so glad your parents got it, and I'm so glad that you'll get it soon if you don't already have it. Adam also talks about the character Miles O'Brien from Star Trek. The most important man in Starfleet, he says, the writers of DS9 said, O'Brien must suffer, so that explains a lot of the episodes. There was a really good kind of fan-made or kind of kick-started Star Trek DS9 documentary that came out, a year ago? Maybe less? I enjoyed it thoroughly, but while I've seen all Star Trek, and I love all Star Trek, I gotta say DS9 is not at the top of my list. Of course, partially that's because I'm an ancient old man, and I watched Kirk, Spock, and McCoy back in the day. So this is why I have a comment video asking you to leave a comment on YouTube or on Facebook, showing the glorious Dr. McCoy being befuddled that anyone would read comments. Well, Dr. McCoy, joke's on you, I read all my comments. But yeah, so I was talking about DS9, and in the documentary they actually go to the great lengths to show the writer's room and how the writer's room thinks and how the writer's room works, and I am disappointed. And I don't like the way they were working it. I certainly don't like the way they were very hands wavy and kind of like, oh, and this happens, and then that happens, and then the other happens. In their little video, which I'm not at all sure was really, showing exactly what went on during the writing of the actual DS9 show, I didn't see the attention to detail, big picture, and story arc vision that I personally appreciate. Now, of course, that's foolish. That's a foolish point of view from a guy who watched the original Star Trek and enjoyed it, and that was incredibly syndicated, which meant, it was also like almost all of Next Generation. It was not episodic. It was not. All the shows were designed to be self-contained stories. They could be watched in any order. It was kind of, there was no real story arc, no real attention to, there are 5 episodes you need to see in order. That was anathema to TV of the time. But it's what I love. And DS9, I think actually DS9 kind of offended me a little bit more. Offended is too strong a word. Annoyed me, perhaps. Because DS9 had a lot of these long story arcs. It had a lot of big vision. But that big vision was constantly interrupted by baseball games on the holodeck. And stuff like that. And quick little side trips to other planets where Worf could free a population by showing them his Tai Chi. DS9 was hot and cold for me. And after watching that documentary in that writer's room, I'm starting to realize why. So I really enjoyed the much more episodic content, of course, of the new Discovery show, which is very episode by episode by episode. At any rate, yes, Adam, I agree that DS9 was probably about O'Brien suffering. What are you going to do? And thanks again for commenting, Adam. And again, everybody should comment if they can, because I'll keep showing you this little funny clip of Dr. McCoy. Yes, indeed, Dr. McCoy, I read all the comments. And I will next time. And there is a next time. I gotta say again, Biltong is interesting, but not really my cup of tea, simply obviously because of this disjoint between what my Western spice palate is versus that Eastern spice palate. Biltong would be great if I could get the weird taste of detergent after effect out of my mouth. But nothing wrong with that. I'm not going to take Biltong away from anybody who loves it. All right, I'll stop talking. Thank you for watching, and I will continue to produce more of these videos for the time being. Now, I personally have gotten my second shot, and I'm very excited about basically going out into the world again and being a little bit more safe and a little bit more comfortable in public spaces and indoors with other people. And I hope that for everybody, and I want everybody to have that experience. But obviously it's not going to happen today. It's not going to even happen this week or this month. But it's close. So I've decided that, I'm going to do a few more of these jerky videos. I'm not going to stop. until we're a lot closer to being completely over with this coronavirus business. This is not my last episode, is what I'm saying. And I hope to see you for the next one. Thanks for watching.